Good morning, everyone. Warm welcome to Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Testbook. My name is Madhav Sir. I welcome you all in a very important session. So today we have payment system report which has been published by RBI, and it's a biannual report which is published by RBI twice a year. And remember that this report has a great potential that it can be asked not only in RBI phase 2 examination, but it can be asked in your upcoming SEBI Grade A examination as well, because we all know that if we talk about the payment system of the country, especially the digital payment side of the nation, it has performed really very well, and we have witnessed huge growth in the past. We are one of the leading economies in terms of uh, overall digital transactions in the country. So keeping that in mind, this is something which is really very important, and we should, or I would say we should follow, or we should cover this scheme, this report in much detail, so that if any question is asked, we should be in a position to answer it for sure. ठीक है जी, clear है? If I am audible, visible, everything is fine, can you just give me yes sir in the comment section, please? Guys, could you please give me yes sir in the comment section if I'm audible, visible, everything is fine, I'm loud and clear, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. Okay. If you haven't shared the link of this session, then I would request you quickly share the link of this session with your friends. Obviously, this session is conducted on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at 5 p.m. But unfortunately, yesterday this session was not conducted due to some technical issue. इसीलिए ये सेशन मैंने आज आपके लिए कंडक्ट किया है, तो डोंट वरी, फ्रॉम गोइंग फॉरवर्ड वी विल बी फॉलोइंग द सेम स्केड्यूल. ये बस आज के लिए है, वेयर वी हैव चेंज द स्केड्यूल फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर सेशन. ठीक है, बट स्टिल मेनी ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स दे आर स्टिल नॉट अवेयर कि ये क्लास लाइव हो चुकी है. सो आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट यू क्विकली शेयर दिस लिंक विद योर फ्रेंड्स so that more and more students they can join us live. Okay then, let's begin. तो मैं आपको बता दूं कि आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है दैट इज पेमेंट सिस्टम रिपोर्ट. इफ यू आस्क मी कि सर ये आखिरकार रिपोर्ट है क्या, इसमें क्या क्या चीजें हैं जो हम पढ़ेंगे, तो सबसे पहली पॉइंट तो ये है कि सर ये जो रिपोर्ट है इट इज पब्लिश बाय आरबीआई, इट इज अ हाफ ईयरली रिपोर्ट व्हिच मींस इट इज पब्लिश ट्वाइस अ ईयर. और ये जो रिपोर्ट है ना, इट इज प्रेजेंटेड फॉर द कैलेंडर ईयर. इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द रिपोर्ट सर, इट इज प्रेजेंटेड फॉर द कैलेंडर ईयर. यहाँ पे जो भी हम मेंशन करूंगा, मैं जहां भी जैसे भी मेंशन करूंगा रिगार्डिंग दी पार्ट ऑफ ईयर, whenever I'll use a word year, remember that year is basically I'm talking with respect to the calendar year. तो ये पॉइंट आपको याद रखना काफी ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. ठीक है जी, आगे बढ़ते हैं. इसके अलावा अगर हम बात करें, ये जो पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट है, इस पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट में कितने चैप्टर्स हैं? पहला चैप्टर इंट्रोडक्शन है, दूसरा इज पेमेंट सिस्टम इन इंडिया. Then we have in payment system in India, we have the payment system stats, analysis of the payment system and large value payments. Then we have a special, I would say, focus on the retail payment systems as well. Uske baad we'll talk about the major regulation developments which have been done in the payment system. Then we will be talking about the RTGS focused area, because in this report they have talked a lot about RTGS, and then we'll conclude our discussion with the global trends in the payment system. बहुत सारा डेटा आज आपके सामने आएगा, बट आई मेक श्योर दैट आई विल बी मार्किंग डाउन द डेटा विच यू हैव टू रिमेंबर. सिर्फ वही डेटा याद रखिएगा जिसको मैं सर्कल करूंगा. रेस्ट ऑल अदर डेटा इज जस्ट गिवन फॉर योर रेफरेंस, जस्ट गिवन फॉर योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग, जस्ट गिवन सो दैट यू कैन इनकलकेट दैट हाउ वेल दी डिजिटल पेमेंट ट्रांजेक्शंस आर परफॉर्मिंग. लेकिन जो मैं मार्क करूंगा बस वही याद करना, उसके अलावा कोई और डेटा याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. दूसरा पॉइंट यहाँ पे ये भी है दैट वी आर गोइंग टू have a quick revision of almost all the RBI circulars, almost all the RBI regulations which are related to the payment system. So it's going to be a quick revision as well for those who have already covered these circulars with me in the past. So let's get started. So what is this particular report all about? If you talk about this particular report, as I have already said, so this report is basically what? So it is basically a report which is published by RBI, और ये एक साल में 2 बार पब्लिश की जाती है. और ये जो रिपोर्ट है, it analyze the digital payments as well as the various mechanism where the target is UPI, NEFT, RTGS and whatnot. Why it is important? Because sir, why this policy system report is, payment system report is important? Because it is important for the stakeholders, all the stakeholders which are involved in the digital payment ecosystem, because everyone wants to know what is the current status of the payment system in the country, what all initiatives can be taken, what all new policies, rules and regulations should be introduced so that we can achieve the set target. So it gives policymakers, banks, fintechs, researchers as well as public visibility into the payment system, that how it is evolving. It helps to monitor the adoption of digital payments. तो यहाँ से हमें ये पता चलता है कि how well the nation is adopting the digital payments, what is its performance in terms of volume of transactions, value of transaction, what is the growth, penetration, number of users or devices, how well it is penetrated, as well as it help us to identify the emerging issues कि भैया कितने frauds हो रहे हैं, regulatory gaps क्या हैं, infrastructure constraints क्या हैं, so that these gaps can be highlighted and these gaps can be utilized by the government or the other policymakers to overcome these issues in the near future. और ये भी reflect करती है ये report कि what all changes have been done. This report also reflect what all changes have been done in the current year or in the current past, और उसी changes के basis पे हम क्या expect कर रहे हैं, that how well our economy is going to perform in the near future. ठीक है जी, is this point clear? तो अगर हमसे कोई पूछेगा कि what is payment system report, I hope you will be in a position to answer it for sure. And if it is clear, just give me yes. अब question ये है कि सर इस particular report में क्या क्या चीजें cover की जाती हैं? If I talk about the coverage, so first one is usage and scale. If you talk about the coverage, it includes the number of transactions, की volume of transaction क्या है, as well as it also gives us the picture what is the value of transactions. कौन सी mode of payment covered है सर? IMPS, UPI, NEFT, RTGS, card payment, prepayment payment systems, as well as Bharat bill payment system, even the check based payment, even जो आपकी check based payment है उसका data भी इस particular report में present किया जाता है. ये जो report it gives us two types of trend. First one, it gives us the trend on half yearly basis, क्योंकि ये half yearly report है. The latest report which has been published, it was published for June 2025, which means for January to June 2025. इससे पहले की जो report आई थी, that was presented in January for basically the previous half year. तो यहाँ पर ये चीजें आपको समझनी होगी. Infrastructure and accessibility की अगर हम बात करें, infrastructure such as number of points of sale terminals, as well as QR codes, devices, sandboxes, तो इसके बारे में भी पिक्चर दी जाती है, इसके बारे में भी डेटा शेयर किया जाता है इन दिस पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट. रेगुलेटरी क्या एस्पेक्ट्स हैं, रिस्क क्या है, क्रॉस बॉर्डर सिनेरियोज क्या हैं, व्हाट आर द न्यू अपग्रेड्स व्हिच हैव बीन डन एट द एंड ऑफ द पॉलिसी मेकर्स. क्लियर? डन हो गया. नाउ लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड विद द रिपोर्ट. सो इफ आई गिव यू एन ओवरव्यू फर्स्ट, अगर आप मुझसे एक ओवरव्यू मांगेंगे तो मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि ये जो रिपोर्ट हम पढ़ने वाले हैं, सर दिस इज द Payment System Report June 2025, and this Payment System Report June 2025 is the second half yearly edition released by Reserve Bank of India. Second half yearly edition released by Reserve Bank of India to provide the overview of India's payment system landscape, how it is evolving, what regulatory and technology changes are taking place, and what direction the ecosystem is moving towards. तो ये overall हमें picture बताएगा about the payment system. ये जो report है, it is designed as a comprehensive resource for policy makers, for industry participants, for research and analysts, as well as for students like you who are going to appear for RBI Grade B examination. Purpose इस report का क्या है सर? ये बताता है what is the growth of digital payments in the country. It shows that accessibility of digital payment has increased, enhanced user adoption, robust acceptance infrastructure, UPI का क्या scenario है, how well the UPI is performing in order to achieve or in order to make India the world leader in terms of digital payments all over the country. Now let's get started with chapter 1. चैप्टर 1 में हम, मैं अगर कहूँ तो चैप्टर 1 है क्या सर? चैप्टर 1 एक्चुअली इट्स अ इंट्रोडक्शन टू दिस पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट कि इसमें क्या क्या चीजें होने वाली हैं और थोड़ी सी समरी भी इसमें इन्वॉल्व है। सबसे पहला पॉइंट है, इन द इंट्रोडक्शन वी टॉक अबाउट द रोल एंड इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ पेमेंट सिस्टम। कि सर आप जिसकी बात कर रहे हैं पेमेंट सिस्टम रिपोर्ट, तो इंडिया का जो पेमेंट सिस्टम है उसका क्या इंपॉर्टेंस है? What is this Payment and Settlement System Act 2007? We will be quickly talking about this. So remember that whenever I use a word payment system, जब भी कभी मैं आपके साथ डिस्कशन करूंगा in this report itself, I will be using a word payment system. So payment system is basically a network. Payment system is basically a network and set of mechanisms that allow money to move safely and efficiently between individuals, businesses and governments. Very important. He says payment system क्या है? ये एक network है, set of mechanism है जो allow करेगा money to move safely and efficiently between the individuals, businesses and government. If I say कि कौन सा business और या कौन सा payment system efficient है, sir, we say that a payment system is efficient if it is providing us safety, reliability, as well as it has a low cost payment instruments. First point. Second point is an efficient payment system should enable smooth financial transactions. Smooth financial transactions का मतलब कि आपके पास n number of scenarios हैं, n number of पॉइंट्स हैं जहां पर आप जाकर इन पेमेंट्स को परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं, ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन। ऑनलाइन में भी बहुत सारी ऑप्शंस, ऑफलाइन में भी बहुत सारी ऑप्शंस। दैट इज अ स्मूथ फाइनेंशियल ट्रांजैक्शंस। नेक्स्ट इज बूस्ट इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ। हाउ इट इज correct? See, whenever in a nation the payment system is strong, obviously it will be easy to make the sale and purchase, and if sale and purchase is easily done, it is done without any chaos, then obviously it will result in increase in demand on one side, which will result in supply of the goods and services. Not only this, I would say the digital payment sector itself is one of the important service sector of the economy, which is not only providing employment to ample of the population, but it is also providing a great contribution in the overall GDP of the country. Last point is the legal foundation for payment system in India is the Payment and Settlement System Act 2007. Now the question is, what is this act all about? Sir, it is a law which was passed by Parliament. Basically, this law gives power to RBI. Please pay attention. We all say that RBI is the regulator of payment system in India, but you know that this power to regulate the payment system in India is given to RBI by or under the Payment and Settlement System Act 2007, which provides license, regulate and supervise all payments, provide license, regulate and supervise all payment systems in the country. Second point is it ensures safety, security, efficiency and reliability. It protects customer interest, and RBI under this act oversees all the payment systems, which include bank transfers, card to digital wallets, UPI, NEFT, RTGS, क्योंकि जितनी भी payments हो रही है, not only digital, it's Payment Settlement System Act. So all the payments which is happening in the country is being looked by, it is being checked by, it is being regulated by RBI. Okay? Now there is a very important point. So there is an amendment which has been done in this particular act recently. What is the amendment done? In May 2025, the major regulatory reforms took place through a notification dated 6 May 2025, and this amendment restructured the regulatory framework of India's payment system. So, क्या restructuring हुई है? If I talk about the restructuring, what kind of restructuring is done? Then my answer is, we have discussed this n number of times. So earlier we had Board for Regulation and Supervision of Payment and Settlement System, but now this Board for Regulation and Supervision of Payment and Settlement System has been replaced by a new body that is called Payment Regulatory Body. I hope you all know that now the new body has been introduced, that is Payment Regulatory Body, which is the designated authority responsible for regulation and supervision, and PRB has a collective, I would say, leadership not only from RBI but also from the government, and that was the only demand of the government कि in the payment and settlement system we should have a say. Government ने तो ये भी demand की थी that we should be the only one who are responsible to manage the payment and settlement system, लेकिन आरबीआई ने कहा ये नहीं हो सकता, will restructurize it, we will include the government officials, we will include the government nominations, but it won't be given independently into the hands of the government. तो अगर आप मुझे बताएंगे who is the chairman of PRB, who is the chairperson of PRB, give me the answer in the comment section. I'm expecting this answer from all those students who are attending my sessions on regular basis. ठीक है, कुछ कमेंट्स है, देख लेते हैं. सौरव, अगर हम बात करें इस क्लास के टाइमिंग्स की, दैट इज ट्यूसडे, थर्सडे, सैटरडे 5 PM. आज रीस्केड्यूल्ड सेशन आया. Sir, I'm preparing for SBI PO and recent trends in the BO exam, including PIB. Can your financial news are also helpful. I think 072943. You have done a mistake while analyzing the papers, not only in SBI PO but even in the latest IBPS PO mains examination. There were 8 or 9 questions directly from the RBI circulars. So if you talk about finance current affairs, obviously it is day one important for bank exams. But if I talk about the news specifically related to RBI, which is a core area of finance, that is RBI circulars, that has been also asked in IBPS examination. Obviously अगर IBPS में आया तो SBI में भी पूरे chances है कि आने वाले दिनों में आ सकता है. So be ready with that. अच्छा जी, so my question is, पेमेंट रेगुलेटरी बोर्ड का चेयरमैन कौन है? Who is the chairperson of Payment Regulatory Board? Any idea? Any idea, guys? I've got an answer. That's a governor of RBI is the chairperson. Is it correct? So that is absolutely correct. Refers to the chairperson. So the Payment Regulatory Board for India's payment system is chaired by none other than Reserve Bank of India's governor. And currently, who is the governor? So the current governor is none other than Sanjay Malhotra ji. ठीक है जी, clear हो गया point. चलो, let's move on to the next point. What does the next point says? Sir, if I talk about the functions, it functions under the chairmanship of governor of RBI and it operates as per Payment and Settlement System Act 2007. अब क्वेश्चन ये है कि सर ये जो नया बोर्ड बना है ये काम क्या करेगा? ये नया बोर्ड बना है ये काम क्या करेगा? अगर हम इस नए बोर्ड की बात करें तो पहला पॉइंट है, license and authorizes new payment system operators. It will provide licensing and authorizing the new payment system operators like UPI, card network, wallet. It will monitor and regulate the functioning of payment system. It will ensure operational safety and resilience of the payment system. It will oversee the customer protection mechanism. And finally, it will promote the innovation in payment technology while maintaining security. So these are the tasks which are ought to be performed by PRB. Moving on to the next segment. The next segment talks about the digital payment growth in India. Very important. Sir, India, if I talk about India's digital payment has grown exponentially. India का जो digital payment है, it has grown exponentially over the past decade. So this means from 2014 to 2024, please be very clear with this point that yes, India's digital payment sector has grown exponentially. If I talk about volume and value, एक चीज याद कर लो, whenever there is a question asked regarding the transaction volume and value growth, remember this every time, that volume growth is always high. The growth rate of volume is always high in comparison to growth rate of value. तो वॉल्यूम ग्रोथ रेट तो बढ़ रहा है क्योंकि इंडिया की पॉपुलेशन बहुत ज्यादा है. वॉल्यूम का मतलब है नंबर ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस, लेकिन वैल्यू का मतलब है टोटल वैल्यू ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस. तो भैया नंबर ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन बढ़ने के पीछे बहुत सारे रीजंस है. एक तो हम डिजिटल पेमेंट्स जो जनरली यूज कर रहे हैं, वी आर यूजिंग इट फॉर आवर रिटेल पेमेंट्स, फॉर आवर डे टू डे पेमेंट्स. और ये जो रिटेल पेमेंट्स है, डे टू डे पेमेंट्स है, अगर मैं अपनी ही बात करूं, लेट्स से इफ आई टॉक अबाउट माई सेल्फ, in a day I make at least 10 to 12 transactions. Office जाना, parking का pay करना, then you are paying for the food and what not. तो in that particular case अगर आपकी number of transactions की बात करें, it is increasing at a high rate, because of which we say digital transaction has increased 38 times in number. See, the volume has increased 38 times in one decade. But if you talk about the value, so it has grown over 3 times. Value has increased over 3 times, but if you talk about the volume, it has grown 38 times. If I talk about the compounded annual growth rate per year in terms of volume, it is 52.5%, and in terms of value, it is 13%. So this data is very important. Volume has become 38 times and value has become more than 3 times. So this is the direct comparison and this is the annual comparison, and these data are important. In the last 5 years, 2020 to 2025, in last 5 years, transaction volume is increased 6.6 times, and if we talk about the transaction value, it has increased by 1.6 times. This translates into the 5-year compound annual growth rate of 46% volume and 10% value. This data is important. This data is important as well as this data which I am highlighting is important. ठीक है, अब ये सर्च क्यों आया? अगर मैं कहूँ ये सर्च आया बिकॉज ऑफ द डिजिटल पेमेंट, और डिजिटल पेमेंट में भी ये सर्च क्यों आया? सो दैट इज ओनली एंड ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ यूपीआई. दैट इज ओनली एंड ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ यूपीआई. गाइज, आई कैन सी दैट यू आर टाइपिंग few doubts, but they are not related to the class. Don't worry. I will be taking your doubts, but in the end of the session. If you can, you should wait. I will be taking your doubt. If you can't wait, you can write down the answer in the comment section. After the session, I will be answering in the comment section as well. Now, moving on to the next point. What is the structure of India's payment ecosystem? So India's payment ecosystem is diverse and multi-layered, which involved banking as well as non-banking entities. It includes what all? So it includes banking instruments like credit card, debit card, internet banking, mobile banking. And if I talk about fast payment system, it includes UPI, IMPS, NEFT, RTGS, out of which UPI, IMPS are the fastest, then RTGS, and in the end we have NEFT. Prepaid and wallet-based payments, where you have the mobile wallets, for example, Paytm or PhonePe wallet. You're making the payments directly from the wallet, or you have prepaid cards, or you have digital vouchers with the help of which you are making the transactions on regular basis. इसके अलावा you are making the payments through QR-based payments, Bharat Bill payment, Aadhaar-enabled payment system, and even the contactless credit card, which has been introduced in the recent times. Now, what is the scope of this current report? So the scope of this current report has provided an analytical review of payment systems which are operated by RBI. तो कौन से payment systems हैं which are operated by RBI? So NEFT and RTGS are the operating system which are permitted are the payment systems which are operated by RBI. UPI, IMPS are the payment systems which are operated by NPCI, and then we have your banks as well as other payment system operators. इसमें हम बहुत सारी चीजें कवर करेंगे. We are going to cover both the growth of large value systems like RTGS, as well as we'll discuss the trend of retail payment system. The period for the second half of 2019, period क्या है? So the comparison will be done from second half of 2019 to first half of 2025. तो ये कंपैरिजन होगा. ऑलमोस्ट 5 years कंपैरिजन इज गोइंग टू बी डन इन दिस पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट, जिसमें हम डेटा याद करेंगे सिर्फ और सिर्फ करंट ईयर का. तो लास्ट ईयर्स के डेटाज आर नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट, बट वी विल जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड देयर कंपैरिजन सिनेरियोज. ठीक है. इवन वी विल बी कवरिंग द क्रॉस बॉर्डर रेमिटेंस सिस्टम एंड देयर कॉस्ट एंड एरिया ऑफ ग्रोइंग ग्लोबल फोकस. तो ये हो गया हमारा पहली चीज. जो हमारा पहला चैप्टर है, दैट इज पेमेंट सिस्टम इन इंडिया. We'll talk about all the numbers. Then we have the major regulatory developments which are done by RBI, and finally we'll talk about the RTGS, and the last part is global trends. So these 4 chapters, that is second, third, fourth and fifth, will be covered in this particular session. But before I move ahead, what you need to remember is 38 times, 3 times. I hope you can recall मैं किसकी बात कर रहा हूँ. 38 times, then we have 3 times. After 38 times, 3 times, then we have 52.5%, then we have 13%. इतना ही नहीं, we have 46, we have 6.6 times, we have 1.6 times, then we have 46%, and lastly we have 10%. Anyone can give me the answer, ये क्या है? So this is वॉल्यूम 38 टाइम्स इंक्रीज हुआ है, वैल्यू 3 टाइम्स इंक्रीज हुई है। क्या कंपाउंड एनुअल ग्रोथ रेट फॉर वॉल्यूम इज 52%, फॉर वैल्यू इज 13%। एंड दिस डेटा जो मैंने लिखा है आपके लिए यहां पर, दिस इज फॉर व्हाट, सो दिस इज फॉर द एंटायर डिकेड 2014 टू 2024। ठीक है जी। और अगर मैं लास्ट 5 सालों की बात करूं तो पिछले 5 सालों में 2020 से 2025 में ये सिनेरियो है, वॉल्यूम 6.6 टाइम्स, वैल्यू 1.6 टाइम्स, वॉल्यूम 46%, capital account compound annual growth rate and 10% is the value compound annual growth rate। समझ आ गया, मजा आ गया, चीजें रिलेट हो गई। बस इतना ही पार्ट है अभी तक जो हमने पढ़ा है, जो आपको याद करना है। इसके अलावा इट्स ऑल अ नॉलेज विच यू आर गेटिंग। बस रीड करो, अंडरस्टैंडिंग मिलेगी। दैट इज द रीजन आई हैव गिवन दिस इन सच अ एक्सपैंडेड मैनर। बट क्वेश्चन अगर आया डेटाबेस तो वो यहां से आएगा, विच आई हैव ऑलरेडी मेंशन ऑन द स्क्रीन। If it is clear, give me yes sir, give me a thumbs up so that we can move ahead. Done guys, do reply here. What are you doing? You're not listening. I hope I'm audible, visible. Do reply yes sir so that we can move ahead. No Daisy, time has not changed. It's still the same. कल वाली क्लास नहीं हो पाई थी इसलिए आज मॉर्निंग में ये क्लास रखी है। चलिए, let's move on to the next point. लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड। डन है ना, कोई डाउट तो नहीं है यहाँ पे? ठीक है। इफ यू हैवंट हिट द लाइक बटन येट, डू हिट द लाइक बटन एंड डू शेयर द सेशन विद योर फ्रेंड्स। नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द, आई वुड से द मोस्ट important chapter of this particular report, that is chapter 2, and even the most you can say the bulky chapter of this particular report, that is payment system in India. So if I talk about the payment system in India, ठीक है जी, डन हो गया। ओके, नाउ इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द रोल, if I talk about the payment system in India, so first of all, we have already discussed what is a payment system, what is the role of payment system. So payment system is a set of instruments, procedures and rules जिसके तहत funds को transfer किया जाता है between individuals, businesses और financial institutions, और ये ensure करता है that money moves efficiently, securely, reliably through the economy as we have discussed. What is an efficient payment system? We have already discussed, which an efficient payment system results in market efficiency. It reduces the transaction cost. It builds trust as well as confidence, and it results in financial stability as well as financial inclusion. If I talk about the structure and India's payment landscape, so India's payment system has evolved into a diverse and multi-layered ecosystem. थोड़ा सा डिटेल में बात करते हैं about the India's payment system so that you can recall the data pretty well in the upcoming exams to go. So India's payment system has evolved into a diverse and multi-layered ecosystem catering to different user needs, from small digital payments to large value corporate settlements. So in India, not only obviously in India, overall we can classify the payment system into two categories. One is paper based and the other one is digital payment system. Paper based means check based, when you're using a check to make the payment, demand drafts to make the payment. Digital or electronic payment system means when you are using the digital instruments or the digital applications, or somehow the physical bank issued instruments, but on the digital mode. For example, I'm talking about the plastic currency, credit card, debit card. They are also included under the category of digital or electronic payment system, along with UPI, IMPS, NEFT, RTGS and whatnot. So if I start with the first one, paper based payment instruments. So what is paper based payment instrument? Paper based payment instruments, they include traditional methods like checks and demand drafts, which require physical instruments and manual processing. Obviously, in the past few years, we have witnessed there is a sharp decline in the use of paper-based payment system. Why? So the reason is the paper-based payment system has been declined due to few reasons. First reason is, when we talk about paper-based payment system, where paper is involved, so the physical flow of paper is risky as well as costly. What I'm trying to say, एक बड़ा सिंपल सा एग्जांपल सुनो. आपने इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न के बारे में सुना होगा, आपने इंश्योरेंस क्लेम्स के बारे में सुना होगा, है ना. अगर आप इंश्योरेंस क्लेम के बारे की बात करें या आप इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न्स की बात करें, तो पहले क्या होता था, यू रिसीव चेक्स फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट, you supposed to receive check from the insurance company, but nowadays these insurance companies, even the IT department, they are crediting your income tax return directly into the account. क्यों? क्योंकि सर पहले उनको वो चेक बाय पोस्ट आपको भेजना होगा, which is risky, अगर रास्ते में गुम हो गया तो. फिर उसके बाद जैसे वो चेक आपको मिला, उसके बाद इट विल गो इन क्लियरिंग. अब क्लियरिंग का प्रोसेस इनिशियली तो कॉस्टली था क्योंकि चार्जेस ज्यादा थे, बट ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम दिस कॉस्ट वाज रिमूव्ड. एट पार clearing of the check was done, but later on there was a point which impacted the flow of check, that was flow time. Flow time का मतलब कि आपने चेक दिया, पहले वो फिजिकली आपके पास आया, फिर आपने उस चेक को अपने अकाउंट में डिपॉजिट किया, फिर जब आपने वो चेक अपने अकाउंट में डिपॉजिट किया तो उसके बाद वो चेक क्लियरिंग में गया, which take as of I would say before October 2025 it generally took 2 to 3 days. अब इन सारे सिनेरियोस को देखते हुए, on the other side, you have an option of UPI, you have an option of IMPS, you have an option of NEFT, RTGS, which is risk-free as well as it is cost-efficient for a sender like me, that is the IT department or maybe the insurance companies. And that is the reason the need, the demand, the use of paper-based payment system is decreasing, and the data also projects the same. Digital payment system, obviously, it is dominated. It is the dominant mode of transaction which include NEFT. And if I talk about NEFT, it is operated by Reserve Bank of India. It is one-to-one fund transfer. It is done with the help of half hourly batches. It is a 24/7 service. याद रखना, NEFT जो है, it is not a real time transaction. What happens when you click on the option NEFT? Your request is received by the bank and bank queue that request. And bank has a half hourly batch. तो बैंक के पास एक half hourly batch है, और बैंक क्या करेगा, in that half hourly batch all the requests which bank has received, उन सारी की सारी request को half hour के बाद क्या करेगा, प्रोसेस करेगा. उनमें से हो सकता है सारी की सारी रिक्वेस्ट पास हो जाए, हो सकता है कुछ रिक्वेस्ट पास ना हो, और जो पास ना होंगी वो अगले वाले बैच के लिए क्या हो जाएंगी, क्यू अप हो जाएंगी. एंड दिस इज हाउ द ट्रांजैक्शन इज डन, एंड दैट इज द रीजन we call it as deferred payment system, because it is not real time settlement, but again it is available 24/7. It is commonly used person to person and business to business transfer, and these days, as per RBI, I would say recommendation, and most of the banks, they are offering this service. Your bank may not offer, then don't shout, but yes, most of the banks are offering as per the RBI recommendation that the NEFT services provided by NEFT services utilized by saving account holder is free of cost. Then we have IMPS, which is a real-time instant interbank electronic fund transfer service where the real-time settlement is done. Real-time settlement का मतलब यहाँ से आपने request raise की, हाथों हाथ वो information transfer हुई. The time taken to pass the information will be the time taken to settle the transaction. It is managed by NPCI and it is popular for small as well as medium value transfers. RTGS की बात करें, sir, it is again managed by RBI, and if I talk about RTGS, sir, it is a real time, it's a real time gross settlement. अब यहाँ पे ये जो word है gross settlement and NEFT में it is net settlement, दोनों का क्या फर्क है वो भी समझ लो. मान लो एक बैंक है PNB, दूसरा बैंक है SBI, ठीक है. PNB ने एक दिन में 10 NEFT की टू SBI ऑफ वैल्यू 100 करोड़, और SBI के जो कस्टमर्स हैं, दे हैव ट्रांसफर द फंड्स टू PNB एंड दैट इज 50 करोड़. सो इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस नेट सेटलमेंट विल बी डन. दैट मींस एट द एंड ऑफ द डे PNB विल बी ट्रांसफरिंग 50 करोड़ नेट टू SBI टू सेटल डाउन द अकाउंट कि भैया मैंने आपको 100 करोड़ देना था, आपने मुझे 50 देना था, काउंटर हो गया, और काउंटर होने के बाद हमारा जो end of the day amount बचा वो कितना हो गया, so that is 50 crores and I'm paying you 50 crores to conclude this particular transaction. ठीक है, this is net settlement which is done in case of NEFT. But in case of RTGS, अगर ये 10 करोड़ का transaction है, first this transaction will be individually settled, the next transaction will be settled, and similarly these transactions from say SBI will also be settled individually. That is RTGS. So transactions are settled individually in real time, provides final and irrevocable settlements, primarily used by banks, corporates, and government agencies. Next, we have National Automated Clearing House. So it is used for bulk and recurring payments such as salary credits, pension dispersals, or utility bills. It is also operated by none other than NPCI. Then we have UPI. All know about UPI and there is nothing to cover. Debit card, it is used for offline as well as online payments, but it falls under the category of digital payment scenarios. Then we have prepaid payment instruments. Prepaid payment instrument का मतलब क्या होता है? जैसे आपने Paytm wallet जरूर यूज किया होगा पास्ट में. Paytm wallet is what? Sir, it is a prepaid payment instrument. Prepaid. So first you credit the funds into the wallet and then you make the payment. So it is a prepaid payment instrument. That means to purchase a product, you are making a payment, but it is a prepaid payment because you have already made the payment into the wallet. So that is the reason we call it as prepaid payment instrument, which include mobile wallets, prepaid cards, as well as the gift cards. Then we have net banking, allow customers to conduct banking transactions provided this service by the banks. NEFT, RTGS, or bill payments are done through the web portal. So this combination of system provides multiple choices to the customer like you and me in order to choose how and what is efficient for us to make a digital transaction, contributing to a resilient, competitive as well as inclusive payment ecosystem. अब अगर हम बात करें evolution की, that how it has evolved over the 2 decades, India's payment landscape has undergone massive transformation. We all know that. First one, UPI आ गया सर. UPI छोड़ो, IMPS भी छोड़ो तो NEFT, RTGS, मतलब जिसको हम सोच भी नहीं सकते थे, वो सब चीजें आज की डेट में हमारे पास अवेलेबल हैं. क्वेश्चन है कि सर ये एवोल्यूशन हुआ बिकॉज ऑफ UPI, बिकॉज ऑफ IMPS, बिकॉज ऑफ n number of other reasons, but what are the key drivers? कि what are the key drivers? ऐसा क्यों हुआ इंडिया में कि इतनी तेजी से ये डिजिटल पेमेंट सेक्टर फट गया, इतनी तेजी से द डिजिटल पेमेंट सेक्टर एक्सप्लोडेड इन द कंट्री? द फर्स्ट रीजन इज population. First reason is population. Second is ease and availability of access. I will obviously thanks Jio. जब से जियो फोन्स आए जहां पे फ्री में, आपको याद होगा पुराने दिन जहां जियो ने फ्री में अपने कनेक्शंस डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किए थे बिना किसी चार्जेस के, आपको सिम दिया. उसके बाद क्या हुआ? एवरीबडी वाज वेरी मच इंक्वेंटेड विद द इंटरनेट. तो सबसे पहले प्रॉब्लम स्मार्टफोन नहीं था, प्रॉब्लम था इंटरनेट चार्जेस विच वाज वेरी हाई. तो स्मार्टफोन तो सेकेंडरी इशू था, प्राइमरी इशू इंटरनेट बिल्स थे, और उन इंटरनेट बिल्स को जियो ने कम किया, विच लेड टू द वाइड स्प्रेड smartphone adoption and internet connectivity. So this is the first factor which led to the growth of India's digital payment. Then government initiatives, a government promoted digital payments like Digital India campaign, Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, Mobile Trinity, regulatory support from RBI as well as NPCI, increased trust due to improved security and fraud detection, acceptance infrastructure such as QR codes, point of sale machines, digital onboarding has expanded rapidly. तो एक तरफ डिमांड बढ़ी, कैसे सर, जब आपकी कंट्री में अवेलेबिलिटी या फिर एक्सेस टू इंटरनेट बढ़ा, और इसी डिमांड को फुलफिल करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत तेजी से सप्लाई को भी क्या कर दिया, इंक्रीज कर दिया. सो द नंबर ऑफ यूजर्स adopting digital payments, number of users adopting digital payment has also increased, making India as one of the largest digital payment market globally. और अगर मैं आज की डेट में इंडिया की बात करूं, ऑल ओवर द ग्लोब जो ट्रांजेक्शन्स हो रही हैं, ऑल ओवर द ग्लोब जो ट्रांजेक्शन्स हो रही हैं उनमें ऑलमोस्ट 40%, फिर 45%, 50%, तीनों में से कोई भी फिगर दो, क्योंकि अलग अलग रिपोर्ट्स में अलग अलग फिगर्स हैं, बट यू कैन से दैट अप्रॉक्सिमेटली 45% ट्रांजेक्शन्स आर हैपनिंग alone in India. If I give you the exact data which I remember from the IMF report, that is 48%. और second rank पे China है, which is 16%. That means India is witnessing 3 times more digital transactions in comparison to China. But ये point सुन के ज़्यादा खुश मत होना, because I will be giving you the reality check. Undoubtedly transactions are high, but scenario is quite different. So what is the different scenario you are talking about, sir? The different scenario I'm talking about is value and volume. Value and volume का एक बहुत बड़ा गेम है, ध्यान से देखना. I hope the screen is visible to you. I'll just remove my image. Let's try to disclose this entire figure. ये फिगर है शेयर ऑफ पेमेंट इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स इन टोटल पेमेंट्स वॉल्यूम. तो अगर हम वॉल्यूम की बात करें तो हाईएस्ट वॉल्यूम इज विद यूपीआई. यूपीआई वॉल्यूम क्या है सर? 84.8%. और सबसे कम जो वॉल्यूम है दैट इज आरटीजीएस 0.1%, इवन बिलो चेक्स 0.1%, इवन बिलो चेक्स. ठीक है, मैंने दो ही फिगर्स को हाईलाइट किया, वही आपको याद करना है. अब अगर मैं यहां से वैल्यू में जंप करूं, इन टर्म्स ऑफ वैल्यू आरटीजीएस corresponds to 68.7% of the total value. समझ आ रही है बातें? इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर इंडिया में पेमेंट सिस्टम के तहत 100 रुपए एज अ होल ट्रांसफर किए गए, उसमें से 84.8 रुपीज यूपीआई मीडियम से, अगर मैं ये कहूं कि 100 ट्रांजेक्शन्स की गई, तो उन 100 ट्रांजेक्शन्स में से 84.8 ट्रांजेक्शन्स की गई हैं फ्रॉम यूपीआई, और सिर्फ 0.1% यानी कि एक ट्रांजैक्शन की गई है फ्रॉम आरटीजीएस. अब इन 100 ट्रांजैक्शन में लेट्स सपोज अगर 1000 रुपए ट्रांसफर किए गए, तो उस 1000 रुपए में से 68% इज ट्रांसफर्ड विद द हेल्प ऑफ ओनली 0.1% ट्रांजैक्शन, दैट इज आरटीजीएस. सो दिस इज समथिंग विच इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. दिस इज समथिंग विच यू नीड टू रिमेंबर. समझ आई ये बात? क्लियर हुआ? नहीं क्लियर हुआ, डोंट वरी, आई जस्ट मेक यू क्लियर. और एक चीज और याद रखिएगा, जो लोएस्ट वैल्यू ऑफ सेटलमेंट है, या फिर मैं कहूं कि जो लोएस्ट वैल्यू है ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन, दैट हैज बीन रिकॉर्डेड अंडर विच कैटेगरी? सो दैट हैज बीन रिकॉर्डेड अंडर कार्ड पेमेंट्स. तो इसको पढ़ लो जरा ध्यान से, क्या कहना चाह रहा हूं. So the point says, please pay attention. Distribution of payment transactions. The report highlights how different payment system contribute. So UPI share in volume 95%, share in value only 9%, 85% and 9%. This is the difference. UPI dominates in terms of number of transactions due to small value retail and merchant payments. But on the other side, RTGS volume is only 0.1%, but share in value is 69%, which means that obviously in case of RTGS, we witness large value transactions such as corporate payments, interbank settlements, as well as government transfers. Now, if I talk about the distribution of payment transactions, retail systems like UPI, card, wallet handle high volume but low value. अगर आप देखें, high volume है UPI, then we have, after UPI we have एनईएफटी नहीं, अगर मैं कहूँ यूपीआई मान लो, प्री पेमेंट इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स मान लो, कार्ड पेमेंट्स मान लो, तो इसी में मेजॉरिटी ऑलमोस्ट ऑलमोस्ट 90% के आसपास पहुंच गए. सो 90% इज रिटेल पेमेंट system which include UPI, card, wallet, retail payment मतलब which is generally used by you and me individuals for their day-to-day requirements, for their day-to-day needs. But value, in terms of value, their contribution is very low. Their contribution is very low. Large value payment systems like RTGS, they have very low volume, but they have very high value transactions, so they are also crucial. तो बहुत बार ऐसा लगता है, मुझे भी बहुत बार ये डाउट क्लासेस में पूछा गया कि सर व्हेन यूपीआई इज डूइंग सो वेल, व्हाई गवर्नमेंट इज स्टिल और आरबीआई स्टिल एम्फसाइजिंग ऑन आरटीजीएस और एनईएफटी और मे बी चेक फॉर दैट मैटर, जहां पे आरबीआई ने रिसेंटली कुछ अपडेट्स किए. सो द रीजन इज अनडाउटेडली यूपीआई, कार्ड पेमेंट्स, वॉलेट पेमेंट्स, दीज आर द रिटेल पेमेंट्स व्हिच हैज इंक्रीज्ड ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, बट only in terms of volume. Still, the dependency in terms of value is still high on the other mode of payments. Now we'll talk about the trends. In case of trends, I'll mark the first point. The overall volume of payment transactions, please pay attention. Overall volume of payment transaction has been steadily increasing, driven primarily by the digital platforms such as UPI, MPS, NEFT and card payment. अगर मैं फर्स्ट हाफ ऑफ 2024 को कंपेयर करूं विद द फर्स्ट हाफ ऑफ 2025, द टोटल नंबर ऑफ पेमेंट ट्रांजैक्शन हैव ग्रोन फ्रॉम 9,688 करोड़ टू 12,549 करोड़, which means what is a percent rise? So there is a 29% increase. There is a 29% increase. This is something which you need to remember. Second point is, अगर हम बात करते हैं टोटल पेमेंट्स की, ये डेटा इंपॉर्टेंट है, आपको याद करना, ठीक है, मैंने मार्क कर दिया. लेकिन उसके अलावा यू हैव टू नो दी अरेंजमेंट इन द सेंस, इफ यू आस्क मी in terms of volume, you can see the highest number of transactions are done under the category of retail payments. Second highest is retail digital payments. Then we have only digital payments. Then we have paper-based payments. And lastly we have what? So lastly we have RTGS. अब यहाँ पे ना confusion होगा, वो confusion मैं clear कर देता हूँ कि सर what is this retail payment, what is this retail digital payment, what is digital payment? ये तीनों points काफी closely related है. These 3 points, they are very closely related, and I don't know whether you are clear with the concept of these 2-3 terms or not. Anyone can give me the answer that what is the difference between these payments? Any idea? I'm still waiting. Because they are very closely related. So I just want to know, do you have any idea? Obviously, if you don't, I'm here to give you the answer. Nothing to worry. So पहला point है, that is digital payment. दूसरा point है retail payment. That means how digital payment is different from retail payment, and how retail payment is different from retail digital payment. Anyone who wants to give a try, it's up to you. No? चलो, बहुत सारे लोग ऑफलाइन चले गए, मतलब गूगल कर रहे हैं. Don't worry, I'll let you know. So digital payment means any payment made using electronic mode instead of cash or physical instrument. ठीक है ना? अगर आपने पेमेंट की instead of cash or physical instrument, we call it as digital payment. For example, NEFT, RTGS, IMPS, UPI, credit card, debit card, wallet, Aadhaar Pay, FASTag payment, Bharat Bill Pay, all are included in the category of digital payment. ठीक. दूसरा है retail payment. Retail payment means the payments that are small in value and large in volume, they are termed as retail payments. So lower transaction size but very frequent, used for day to day transaction and can be done digitally or paper based. So इसमें paper based हो सकते हैं checks, demand drafts, इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली हो सकते हैं यूपीआई, एमपीएस, एनईएफटी या कार्ड बेस्ड. अब आया रिटेल डिजिटल पेमेंट. एज द नेम सजेस्ट, स्मॉल डे टू डे बेस्ड ट्रांजेक्शन बट डन ओनली इन द डिजिटल मोड, दैट इज नोन एज रिटेल डिजिटल पेमेंट. तो यहां पे अब आप ध्यान से देखना, जो मैंने आपके लिए पूरा फ्लो बनाया. रिटेल पेमेंट में क्या होगा सर? इन द कैटेगरी ऑफ रिटेल पेमेंट वी इंक्लूड पेपर बेस्ड, रिटेल पेमेंट्स चेक्स एंड डिमांड ड्राफ्ट्स के जरिए, एज वेल एज वी इंक्लूड डिजिटल रिटेल पेमेंट. इसीलिए डिजिटल रिटेल पेमेंट आ गया सेकंड रैंक पे. दिस इज ऑन द फर्स्ट रैंक. डिजिटल पेमेंट में वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ओनली एंड ओनली डिजिटल पेमेंट्स. वी आर नॉट इंक्लूडिंग द पेपर बेस्ड पेमेंट्स. सो दिस इज हाउ दिस रिलेशन हैज बीन डन. तो उसके बेसिस पे ये जो मैंने आपके लिए फ्लो बनाया, यू मस्ट रिमेंबर दिस फ्लो. नाउ इफ आई मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, what is the flow for value? Sir, in terms of value, things are going to be different. Why it's going to be different? If you can see in terms of value, so the first one, ये पॉइंट आपको याद रखना, टोटल वैल्यू ऑफ ट्रांजेक्शन दैट इज 1572 लाख करोड़ रुपीस. बट सबसे पहला जो रैंक है इन टर्म्स ऑफ वैल्यू, सो वैल्यू सबसे ज्यादा किसकी है सर? दैट इज डिजिटल पेमेंट्स की. वैल्यू सबसे ज्यादा किसकी है? डिजिटल पेमेंट. क्यों? क्योंकि सर आरटीजीएस, एनईएफटी, यूपीआई, आईएमपीएस, दे ऑल आर इंक्लूडेड. So digital payment is on the first rank. After digital payment we have RTGS. After RTGS we have retail payments. After retail payments we have retail digital payments, and last we have paper based payments. और ये जो retail payments है, it is digital payment plus paper based payments. क्लियर हो गया? क्या ये फ्लो याद रहेगा? डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन आएगा एग्जाम में. सो डू रिमेंबर दिस पर्टिकुलर फ्लो. इसके अलावा जो डेटा है दैट हैज बीन गिवन फॉर योर रेफरेंस, स्टिल अगर आप मुझसे पूछेंगे व्हाट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर, सर आई हैव ऑलरेडी मार्क्ड व्हाट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर. दिस डेटा यू नीड टू रिमेंबर. सेकेंडली यू नीड टू रिमेंबर this flow, and along with the flow you have to remember only and only the total volume and total value related data. Nothing else is important. ठीक है जी, क्लियर होगी ये बात? ओके. अब इसमें अगर हम बात करें तो ऑलरेडी वी हैव डिस्कस्ड कि सर इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द पेमेंट सिस्टम, आरटीजीएस वर्सेस रिटेल सिस्टम, आरटीजीएस डोमिनेट value share around 69%, showing its importance for large institution and interbank. Retail payment system, especially UPI, dominate volume share over 85%. So this data is again not important क्योंकि इसका exact data हम already पढ़ चुके हैं. Rising daily transaction load with over 69 crore digital transactions per day, India's payment ecosystem demonstrate high resilience, scalability and widespread acceptance. This is again just for your reference. इसमें भी कुछ याद करने की, कुछ समझने की जरूरत नहीं है. Moving on to the next topic under chapter 2, the next is particular type of transaction, particular type of payment system का क्या structure है. So the growth pattern during this period, December 2024 to June 2025, shows a mixed trend. While most digital touchpoints and payment acceptance tools have expanded, but some of them has witnessed a temporary decline as well. तो अब हम कंपेयर करेंगे दिसंबर 2024 का जो डेटा था, दैट वाज द सेकेंड ईयर ऑफ 2024, उसे मैं कंपेयर करूंगा विद फर्स्ट हाफ ऑफ 2025. नाउ दिस कंपैरिजन इज गोइंग टू बी डन इन टर्म्स ऑफ n number of aspects. Let's try to understand. So the first one is data on this payment infrastructure network comparing the outstanding position. So what is outstanding position? That is the number of operational units, number of operational devices, number of cards in circulation. अब हम बात कर रहे हैं पब्लिक के पास, अब हम बात कर रहे हैं availability of the instrument जिसकी मदद से transactions have been done. So if I talk about first one, credit cards. So the total number of credit cards in circulation, they have increased from 10.80 crores to 11.12 crores by June 2025. So credit card has witnessed an increase, and increase is around 2.9%. Surprisingly, in case of debit card, the number of debit cards has also increased from 99 crores to 100 crores, crossing 100 crore milestone, which is important to remember. It's all because of प्रधानमंत्री जन धन योजना. उसके बाद अगर हम डेबिट कार्ड के बाद बात करें प्रीपेड पेमेंट इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स की, विच इंक्लूड डिजिटल वॉलेट एज वेल एज प्रीपेड कार्ड, both physical and virtual, that store the value, where we have two subcategories. One is prepaid payment instruments and prepaid payment cards. Prepaid payment instrument में अगर हम wallets की बात करें, that has declined. Obviously अगर आप अपनी और मेरी बात करो, हम में से कितने लोग हैं जो पहले अमाउंट फोन पे के वॉलेट में ट्रांसफर करते हैं, then we make the payment? No, we directly make the payment through UPI. Why I should transfer the funds into the wallet? I should transfer it directly from my bank account. So that has resulted in a decline in last comparison. And if I talk about the number of active wallets, so number of active wallets have also fell down significantly from 2.12 crores to 1.63 crores. ठीक है जी, तो यहाँ पे सिर्फ इतना याद रखना कि वॉलेट का काउंट डिक्लाइन हो गया. अब यहाँ पे जो वॉलेट का काउंट डिक्लाइन हुआ है, द नंबर ऑफ वॉलेट्स डिक्लाइंड, रिमेंबर दैट. द नंबर ऑफ एक्टिव वॉलेट्स, तो ये नंबर ऑफ वॉलेट्स है, दिस डेटा इज नॉट मच इंपॉर्टेंट, लेकिन जो ये एक्टिव वॉलेट्स वाला डेटा है, दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट, यू नीड टू रिमेंबर दैट. पीपीआई कार्ड्स की बात करें सर, इन केस ऑफ अदर साइड वॉलेट कम हो गई, लेकिन पीपीआई कार्ड्स का जो यूटिलाइजेशन है दैट हैज इंक्रीज. व्हाट इज द रीजन? सो द रीजन बिहाइंड दिस इज these days it is used in corporate disbursement. For example, I'm working in a company and my job demands travel, and my travel is reimbursed by my company itself. So in that particular case, company ने मुझे एक प्रीपेड पेमेंट इंस्ट्रूमेंट दे दिया, कहा कि भैया जो भी पेमेंट करनी है इससे कर लेना, और कंपनी को भी ट्रैक रहा कि मैं कहाँ पेमेंट कर रहा हूँ, और मैं भी अलग सिर्फ उस जगह पे पेमेंट कर पाऊंगा जो कंपनी से प्रिस्क्राइब्ड है. आई कैन नॉट गो एंड मेक फेक बिल्स एंड ऑल. सो दैट इज द रीजन. गिफ्टिंग में, ट्रांजिट सिस्टम में, एज वेल एज डिजिटल incentive programs में it is widely used, which has resulted in prepaid payment instrument cards, they have witnessed an increase. Again, remember the number of active PPI cards, और यहाँ पे जो active PPI cards का count है that has increased significantly. दो reasons. पहला reason है सर न्यू ईयर, उन्हीं दिनों में न्यू ईयर पे काफी सारे गिफ्ट कार्ड्स इशू किए जाते हैं. दूसरा है फाइनेंशियल ईयर, तो फाइनेंशियल ईयर पे भी मोस्ट ऑफ द कंपनीज दे गो विद द अप्रेजल सिनेरियोस एंड दे इशू दीज काइंड ऑफ कार्ड्स. कंपनी कम्स अप विद द न्यू आई वुड से announcements, the new policies, and that is the reason these active card count has sharply increased. Now if I talk about ATMs, we all know that ATMs are of two types. One is bank owned, other one is white label ATM. So bank owned ATM count has decreased. Don't remember the number, just remember slightly decreased, that's it. Number is not important. But on the other side, if I talk about white label ATM, sir, its count has remained constant, no change, around almost the same number of machines are there, that is 36,000 machines in the country. Micro ATM count has again decreased, क्योंकि micro ATM का काम क्या था? So micro ATMs were the hand-handled devices which were used by the business correspondents, जहाँ पे you and me, we go with our card to withdraw the funds to make the transaction. But now it is no more required because I can do that with the help of UPI. So there's no need to go to the micro ATM. So this has decreased. But with increase in demand of digital payment, POS terminals are machines which are installed by merchants to accept card payments. So now their number has grown from 1 crore almost to 1.17 crore, which is a growth of around 18%, which is good to remember. After that, if I talk about if I talk about the Bharat QR or UPI QR codes, so Bharat QR code has increased as well as UPI QR codes has increased. So important data is major jump in the UPI QR code, which include all the UPI providers. This is important and this has been discussed earlier. This 85% value is also important. Clear ho gaya ji? Moving on to the last point or the last segment of the chapter 2. So the analysis of payment system and data, what it says, India ka jo payment system hai, that has witnessed unexpected exponential growth since 2019. Growth in the transaction volume and value has been recorded. This is important. In calendar year 2019, India recorded 3,248 crore payment transactions. By calendar year 2024, this number has increased to 20,849 crore transactions. In terms of value, 1,775 lakh crore in 2019 has increased to 2,830 lakh crores in 2024. In just first half of 2025, the transaction has reached 12,549 crores in value, and in volume and in value it is 1572 lakh crores. This is something which you need to remember in order to analyze the trajectory that how well it has responded in the past. ठीक है जी. अब अगर हम बात करें डिजिटल पेमेंट शेयर इन टोटल ट्रांजैक्शन. डिजिटल पेमेंट मींस आई एम इंक्लूडिंग, I hope we have already discussed, digital payment means everything. RTGS, या ये कहो कि digital payment means without cash and paper instrument. तो आपने cash use नहीं किया, paper instrument use नहीं किया, तो it says that 96.7% in 2019 increased to 99.7%, increased to 99.8%, which means India में जो 99.8% of number of total transactions है, they are done in digital mode. They are done in digital mode, and in terms of value, it is 97.7%. So digital payment share in the total transactions, almost all the growth stems from digital payment system. In just 6 years, India has transitioned from the most digital to an almost fully digital payment economy. This is something which you need to remember. Clear हो गया point? I hope this point is clear. Moving on to the next. तो मैं मार्क करता जा रहा हूं. आई होप आपको समझ आ रहा है कि कौन सी चीज आपको पढ़नी है, कौन सा डेटा आपको याद करना. आई एम ऑलरेडी marking the data which you can easily remember, which can be easily remember for the upcoming examinations. Then we have large value payment systems. Large value payment system, also called wholesale payment system, which are used for high value transfers between banks, corporates, financial institutes. It is also used for the settlements related to money market, foreign exchange, as well as security transactions. These large value payment system ensure immediate and final settlement of large value funds, reduce settlement risk, stability of financial market. In India, these large value payment system includes what? RBI operated RTGS, as well as CIIL operated systems, CIIL operating systems such as government security market settlement, forex clearing, as well as rupee derivative clearing. तो दो तरह का है, एक RBI मैनेज करता है और बाकी ये जो मैनेजमेंट है that is done by Clearing Corporation of India, which include government security, market settlement, forex clearing, as well as rupee derivative clearing. Now, if I talk about the growth overview, which is important, transaction volume 35 लाख से बढ़कर कितना हो गया? 45 लाख. This is the volume. And if I talk about the transaction value, it is 1270 lakh crores to 2780 lakh crores in the calendar year 2024. अगर आप ध्यान से देखें, if you go back and check, आपकी जो overall ट्रांजेक्शन्स की वैल्यू थी दैट वाज 2830 लाख करोड़. 2830 लाख करोड़ में से 2780 लाख करोड़ इन द कैटेगरी ऑफ दिस ओनली. इन द फर्स्ट हाफ CIL processed 28.8 lakh transactions worth 1734 lakh crore, showing continued momentum, which is again very important to remember. Which is again very important to remember. तो अगर आप देखें फर्स्ट हाफ में जो आपकी CCIL ने जो सेटलमेंट्स की हैं दैट इज अराउंड 1734 लाख करोड़. ठीक. मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. ये सिर्फ और सिर्फ आपकी रीडिंग के लिए पढ़ लेना. गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी मार्केट की क्या हालत है, फॉरेक्स क्लियरिंग की क्या हालत है, RBI ऑपरेटेड RTGS की क्या हालत है, वो मैं एक डिटेल में जो चैप्टर है उसमें बात करेंगे. अभी यहाँ पर बात करने का कोई फायदा नहीं है, बट स्टिल आई हैव गिवन यू द फ्लो. ये फ्लो आप देख लेना. ठीक है जी. नाउ लेट्स जंप टू द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज रिटेल पेमेंट्स. द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज RTGS के बाद जो हमारे पास अगला पॉइंट है दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम वेयर वी आर गोइंग टू बिगिन आवर डिस्कशन. बट बिफोर दैट RTGS के अलावा कोई और पॉइंट अगर आपको डाउट है यहां तक जो हमने कवर किए, जस्ट गिव मी यस सर. Guys, if you have any doubt till RTGS point, you may ask, please. Otherwise, we will be moving ahead. Done? No doubt? Just give me a thumbs up if everything is clear. Just give me a thumbs up if everything is clear. Quickly, I'm waiting for your reply. No doubt, ठीक है. तो RTGS के लिए, as I said, we have a separate session, or a separate, not session, the separate chapter which we will be discussing in some time. That is the reason I have excluded the discussion on RTGS in this particular context. अब जो हमारा अगला topic है, that is basically the next chapter, and the next chapter, that is the third chapter, that is basically related to what? So the third chapter the third chapter is basically related to the very important term which says what initiatives have been taken by RBI in the past. What initiatives has been taken by RBI in the past in order to manage, in order to regulate, in order to come up with better scenarios for the Indian economy. So let's get started with that. Done, guys? What is Forex? It is foreign exchange. Foreign exchange is a place where currency exchange is done. It's a market where you exchange dollars for INR, or INR for dollar, or for that matter any other currencies. Now let's talk about the major regulatory developments. I won't be discussing them in detail because हम already discuss कर चुके हैं in much detail. So the first point is card tokenization. So RBI has recently done the card tokenization, which means the card tokenization was introduced in 2019 and card on file tokenization 2021 was introduced. What is tokenization? So you replaces your actual card details like card number, CVV, expiry with a unique digital token. That is a encryption of the data is done. मतलब ये कि जब आप अपने card details को save कर रहे हैं, the card details are not saved as they are mentioned on the card, rather they are mentioned as a code, और उस code के against the card details can be retrieved in the near future in order to avoid any kind of fraud. ठीक? Why it is important? Merchants or payment apps, they no longer store your real card details, thereby reducing the risk. Second, we have arrangement with the card networks. So arrangement with the card networks, when bank issues debit card or credit card, they typically tie up with card networks like Visa, MasterCard, RuPay. There was a problem. Some card issuers, they had exclusive agreements with a single network, reducing the competition. Now, RBI in March 2024 has given the direction banks and non-bank card issuers. Please remember, banks and non-bank card issuers cannot enter into exclusive agreement restricting them to one card network. Issuer must offer customer a choice of card networks. Issuer जो है, it must offer a choice of card network कि जब आप बैंक के पास जाएंगे, ऐसा नहीं कि बैंक कहेगा हम सिर्फ आपको वीजा कार्ड ही इशू कर सकते हैं. दैट इज नॉट द केस. अब आपके पास ऑफर मिलेगा, हर ऑफर के अगेंस्ट यू हैव टू मेक अ चॉइस कि आपको क्या चाहिए. Okay. The next point is expansion of TREDS, that is trade receivable e-discounting system. So trade receivable e-discounting system, what is it? So it is an online platform where MSMEs, they can sell their trade receivables to financiers for early payments through invoice discounting. समझ आता है कि जो हमारे MSMEs हैं, उन्होंने आज किसी को प्रोडक्ट बेचा, प्रोडक्ट के बदले में उन्हें एक इनवॉइस मिला, उस इनवॉइस को अब वो यूज कर सकते हैं, उस इनवॉइस को वो डिस्काउंट करा सकते हैं, सो दैट दे कैन गेट द फंड्स टुडे. अब इसमें आरबीआई ने क्या किया? एनहांसमेंट किया. allowed more financiers to participate. Financiers can now ensure their exposure, facilitated a secondary market, promoted transparency, as well as allowed settlement of even those bills those are not discounted on TRED's platform in order to increase the fund flow for the MSMEs. Then we have PIDF, that is Payment Infrastructure Development Fund, was introduced in January 2021 to promote digital payment acceptance in underserved areas such as tier 3 to tier 6 cities, northeastern region, as well as Jammu and Kashmir. It was implemented till December 2025. Recent addition is the coverage has expanded to Pradhan Mantri Vishwakarma beneficiaries, artisans and craftsmen. Inclusion of new devices like soundbox devices have been included. क्या है ये? So subsidy in these focus region is increased to 90% of the cost to encourage adoption. कि अगर आप डिजिटल ट्रांजेक्शन्स को एक्सेप्ट करते हैं तो उस सेटअप को लगाने में जो भी खर्चा होगा उसका 90% अप टू 90% ऑफ द सब्सिडी विल बी प्रोवाइडेड अंडर दिस पर्टिकुलर स्कीम. ओवर 14 लाख पीओएस डिवाइस डिप्लॉय किए गए, 4 करोड़ क्यूआर कोड और 67.6 लाख सैंडबॉक्स डिवाइसेस सब्सिडाइज किए गए अंडर दिस पर्टिकुलर इनिशिएटिव. Then we have offline digital payment enablement, January 2022 to enable small value payments in offline mode जहां पे कोई इंटरनेट नहीं है. Channel allowed card, wallet, mobile devices, etc. Transaction limit 500 rupees per offline transaction, 2000 rupees total limit at any time, at any point in time. Recent update ये है, for UPI Lite the per transaction limit was increased to 1000 from 500 and the total limit has increased from 2000 to 5000, which shows कि हाँ यार सही चल रहा है, इसे और increase करो so that we can improve the scenarios in a better manner. Pre-sanctioned credit lines on UPI. So pre-sanctioned credit lines on UPI का मतलब क्या होगा? So credit based UPI transaction. So you will be getting a credit limit. For example, you receive a credit limit of 10 lakhs and this entire 10 lakh rupees of credit limit can be utilized or can be, I would say, utilized or exhausted, whatever you say. Or the spending can be done with the help of what? So the spending can be done with the help of only one scenario which I am talking about, that is UPI alone. कि आप UPI से directly transaction करो और अपनी जो भी requirements है you can complete them for sure with the help of UPI itself. Is it clear? समझ आ रहा है? Is it done, guys? Keep on replying. I don't know why you're not actively participating today. I know कहीं ना कहीं किसी को ये डाउट है कि पता नहीं फेज 2 क्लियर होगा, फेज 1 क्लियर होगा भी या नहीं. किसी को ये डाउट है कि पता नहीं और कोई एग्जाम में ये रिपोर्ट आएगी भी या नहीं. तो मैं आपको बता दूं ये एक ऐसी रिपोर्ट है जो आपके बैंक एग्जाम से लेकर हर रेगुलेटरी बॉडी के एग्जाम में यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन पूछा जाएगा. रेगुलेटरी बॉडी के एग्जाम में ये क्वेश्चन पूछा जाएगा. सो इफ यू आर इग्नोरिंग इट यू आर मेकिंग अ बिग मिस्टेक. इफ यू आर इग्नोरिंग इट आई कैन टेल यू दैट यू आर मेकिंग अ बिग मिस्टेक. डोंट डू दैट. क्योंकि जब डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन यहाँ से आएगा, ऑब्वियसली डेटा ओरिएंटेड क्वेश्चन आया तो टफेस्ट क्वेश्चन है, और अगर इसके एनालिटिकल बेसिस पे क्वेश्चन आया देन यू विल रिग्रेट दैट यू मस्ट हैव गॉन थ्रू विद दिस सेशन इन मच डिटेल. यू मस्ट हैव रिप्लाइड एक्टिवली सो दैट यू वुड हैव आंसर दैट पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन इन द एग्जामिनेशन. ठीक है, बाकी आपकी मर्जी है. चलिए, मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. The next point says pre-sanctioned credit lines on UPI we have discussed. Then we have e-mandate for recurring transactions. E-mandate for recurring transaction means introduced in August 2009 to simplify recurring payments like subscriptions. Additional factor of authentication has been introduced which says security step like OTP verification for recurring payments above a certain limit. अगर आपकी recurring पेमेंट 2000 से ज्यादा थी तब आपको ओटीपी देना पड़ता था, फिर उसे बढ़ाकर 5000 किया. अब अगर 15000 से ज्यादा की पेमेंट है तभी ओटीपी देना पड़ेगा, वरना नहीं. अगर मैं बात करूं एडिशनल फैक्टर ऑफ ऑथेंटिकेशन लिमिट हैज इंक्रीज टू 1 लाख फॉर स्पेसिफिक कैटेगरीज, जैसे कि म्यूचुअल फंड का एसआईपी है, इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम है या क्रेडिट कार्ड का बिल है, वो ऑटोमेटिकली पे हो जाएगा. उस केस में आपको क्या करने की जरूरत नहीं है सर. उस केस में आपको ओटीपी देने की जरूरत नहीं है, कंफर्म करने की जरूरत नहीं है. अगला पॉइंट आता है सर रीसेंट जो डेवलपमेंट्स की हैं आरबीआई द्वारा इन 2025, ड्यू डिलिजेंस फॉर आधार एनेबल्ड पेमेंट सिस्टम टच पॉइंट ऑपरेटर, वी हैव कवर्ड इन आवर प्रीवियस सेशंस। एनपीसीआई अथॉरिटी टू प्रिस्क्राइब यूपीआई ट्रांजेक्शन लिमिट, तो हम सब जानते हैं यूपीआई ट्रांजेक्शन लिमिट्स को रिवाइज किया गया रिसेंटली बाय एनपीसीआई। लास्ट इज क्रेडिट गारंटी फंड स्कीम फॉर फैक्टरिंग इन ट्रेड्स हैव बीन इंट्रोड्यूस्ड ऑन द रिकमेंडेशन ऑफ आरबीआई। ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया पॉइंट। लास्ट पार्ट है आज के सेशन का, दैट इज ग्लोबल ट्रेंड्स इन द पेमेंट सिस्टम। अगर हम ग्लोबल ट्रेंड्स इन द पेमेंट सिस्टम की बात करें, क्रॉस बॉर्डर पेमेंट का मतलब क्या होता है सर? वो ट्रांजेक्शन्स जहां पे सेंडर या रिसीवर, जहां पे सेंडर or receiver, they are located in different countries. These include remittances, international trade payments, investment, charitable transfers, and whatnot. Key friction in cross-border transactions is cross-border payments, they face several operational and structural issues because of which they become costly, slow, and opaque. Major challenges, first one, it is long transaction chain. In many payment corridors, there are multiple intermediaries. Banks are involved, then many of the central banks are involved, तो उससे एक बहुत लंबी चेन बन जाती है जिससे डिले होता है, कॉस्ट ऐड होता है और पोटेंशियल एरर होने के भी चांसेस हैं। दूसरा है देयर इज लैक ऑफ इंटर ऑपरेटेबिलिटी। पेमेंट सिस्टम कैन नॉट, और पेमेंट सिस्टम अक्रॉस कंट्रीज दे ऑफन यूज डिफरेंट technical and data standards which make them very difficult to communicate seamlessly. Then we have complex compliance checks to prevent money laundering and terrorism. Transactions must comply with strict KYC, anti-money laundering, and financial action task force, which again make the transaction slow. And last is legacy technology platform. Many international payment systems still rely on outdated messaging and settlement technologies, which is further creating and increasing the mess. So friction collectively increase time, cost, uncertainty for the end users, especially for the individuals as well as the small buyers. So to tackle this inefficiency, G20 has launched global roadmap in 2020 aimed at improving the cross-border payments by making them cheaper, faster, more accessible and transparent. Two international organizations, Financial Stability Board and Committee on Payment and Market Infrastructure, are leading policy work with technical support from the Bank for International Settlement Innovation Hub. पॉइंट समझ आया कि सर दो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी बोर्ड प्लस कमेटी ऑन पेमेंट एंड मार्केट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. दे आर कलेक्टिवली setting up the cross border, they are collectively made responsible to solve this problem, and the technical assistance is given by Bank for International Settlement या Bureau for International Settlement के इनोवेशन हब द्वारा ये टेक्निकल असिस्टेंस दी जा रही है. इनिशिएटिव की बात करें, FSB December 2024 report on data framework. This report emphasized that there is a need to standardize the sanction list management, ensure consistent FATF implementation and enable smoother data sharing. तब जाकर क्रॉस बॉर्डर पेमेंट्स ईज आउट होंगी, वरना प्रॉब्लम आती रहेगी. CPIM ने कहा अक्टूबर 23 में उन्होंने प्रपोज किया वी शुड हैव एन हार्मोनाइज iOS 20022 डेटा स्टैंडर्ड्स जिससे मैसेजिंग सिस्टम आसान हो. अक्टूबर 2024 दे suggested harmonization of API, that is application programming interface standards, to make systems interoperable and it will reduce the integration cost. Overall goal ये था कि create करो एक global consistent interoperable efficient payment infrastructure. उसके basis पे ये suggestions दिए गए. BIS Innovation Hub ने क्या किया? Sir, it has collaborated with the central banks globally and has launched several pilot projects to enhance payment efficiency and fight against the financial crime. So there is first one very important, Project Hartha uses network analytics to detect financial crimes in real time. Project Rialto test instant cross-border payments using tokenized wholesale central bank money and modular foreign exchange mechanism. Project Agora studies how tokenization can improve wholesale payment system between the institution. बस ये नाम आपको याद करना है, इसमें कुछ explanation है नहीं. Project Mandala explores embedding jurisdiction specific regulatory rules directly into the payment portal. तो ये terms आपको याद रखनी है. If I talk about the rising geopolitical risk, one emerging concern for the global payment in the geopolitical scenario is the geopolitical tension. क्योंकि ये geopolitical tension जब भी होगी तो obviously सिर्फ डिजिटल पेमेंट्स ही नहीं, ओवरऑल इकोनॉमी, ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी पे इंपैक्ट होगा. So because the global financial system is highly centralized and dependent on few key settlement currencies like US dollars, euro and Great Britain pound, sanctions or restrictions on countries like China or Russia can disrupt financial flows. For instance, sanction can cut off access to SWIFT, जो कि रशिया के साथ हुआ. Restriction on foreign exchange settlement can isolate the economies. अब हम तो रशिया पे डिपेंडेंट थे, तो रशिया ने हमारी बात मानी और INR में इंडिया के साथ ट्रेड करना शुरू किया. अदरवाइज इट वुड हैव बीन वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर इंडिया टू कोप अप विद दैट सिचुएशन. सो एज अ रिजल्ट, affected countries are increasingly exploring alternative agreements such as bilateral settlement agreements, multilateral systems, so that they can avoid this international sanction situations. India's initiative in cross-border, very important. Under the Payments Vision Document 2025, Reserve Bank of India has actively aligned with the G20 roadmap and is working to reduce friction in the cross-border remittances. Review of inward remittance delay. RBI has initiated a review of delay in creating inward remittance so that RBI can identify कि भैया जो पैसा आ रहा है उसको आने में देरी क्यों हो रही है. जो जा रहा है उसमें तो हमारा इतना फर्स्ट एंड पे कंट्रोल नहीं है, लेकिन जो आया उसको तो हम एटलीस्ट इंडिया में पहुंचने के बाद जल्दी सेटल डाउन करा सकते हैं. सो पर्टिकुलरली एट दी बेनिफिशियरी स्टेज वेयर मोस्ट डिलेज अकर एंड टू प्रपोज प्रोसेस इंप्रूवमेंट्स फॉर फास्टर एंड मोर एफिशिएंट सेटलमेंट. सेकेंड पॉइंट है enhancing the cross-border connectivity. RBI is facilitating the linkage of India's domestic payment system, that is UPI, with the other nations, with like Singapore, Mauritius, Malaysia and even Namibia. तो इन सारी कंट्रीज के साथ इंडिया ने टाई अप किया. कहीं इंडिया ने यूपीआई को टाई अप किया, कहीं इंडिया ने अपने पूरे के पूरे यूपीआई कॉन्सेप्ट को ही सेल आउट कर दिया. तो नेशंस, अफ्रीकन नेशंस लाइक नामीबिया. तो यूपीआई पे नाउ लिंकेज जिसकी मैं बात कर रहा था, सिंगापुर. Project Nexus, BIS led multilateral initiative, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand in Project Nexus, which basically aims to connect multiple domestic fast payment systems to enable the instant international payments. ठीक है जी, clear हो गया ये point? Is this point clear? Just give me yes sir. Any doubt till this point? No doubt? Shall I move ahead? Guys, I'm still waiting for your reply. Done? Okay. Let's move on to the next point. So what does the next point says? It says QR code acceptance abroad. So India का जो UPI app है, they are now accepted for payment in Bhutan, France, Mauritius, Nepal, Singapore, UAE, Qatar, जिससे जो Indian travelers हैं, they can easily make the payment with the help of UPI in the foreign land, at the foreign land as well. Understanding the cross-border remittance, ध्यान से सुनना. Cross-border remittance, they are the international money transfers that can be done for personal purpose, business transaction or charitable donation or something like that. Such transactions, they require currency exchange and must comply with regulations, both sending and receiving countries such as KYC, anti-money laundering, data protection laws, tax reporting and whatnot. Remember this, India is leader in this. In the sense, India is the nation with world's largest. India is the nation with world's largest remittance, inward remittance. That means अगर वर्ल्ड में अगर हम बात करते हैं इनवर्ड रेमिटेंस की, तो सबसे ज्यादा जो इनवर्ड रेमिटेंस है वो कौन सी कंट्री में आता है? दैट इज इन इंडिया. और अगर हम बात करें आउटवर्ड रेमिटेंस की, तो सबसे ज्यादा जो आउटवर्ड रेमिटेंस फ्लो है, that is recorded in which country? Then my answer to this particular question is, sir, it is recorded from US. So US is on the first rank in terms of outward remittance. ऐसे नहीं, if I talk about Donald Trump, he's not making the changes abruptly. He is making these changes because he know that the wealth of his country is flowing out and he wants to contain that wealth, because of which this has a number of initiatives have been taken by him in the past. So India in 2024 received 137.7 billion in the foreign remittance, more than double than the second ranked nation, that is Mexico, which is on the second rank with 67.7 billion dollars. On the other side, if I talk about the sending side, United States remains on the top with $98.4 billion sent in 2024 itself. Other leadings include Saudi Arabia, Switzerland, then we have Saudi Arabia, Switzerland. And remember, outflow from Switzerland, Germany, they have also shown a consistent growth in the past. Now, this is very important. Cost of sending remittances. Global average cost of sending remittance, मतलब अगर आप एक country से दूसरी country funds remit करते हैं, the remittances are 6.65%, which has now reduced to 6.2%. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि अगर आपने 100 या मान लो चलो $200 रेमिट किए, तो उस पर आपको जो रेमिटेंस फीस पड़ेगी दैट विल बी 6.62%, which is very high, which is very high. Sub-Saharan Africa remains most expensive region for the remittance at 8.45%, and South Asia is cheapest at 5.01%, क्योंकि साउथ एशिया से आउटवर्ड रेमिटेंस कहीं हो ही नहीं रहा, इनवर्ड हो रहा है, और जो चार्जेस हैं दे आर चार्ज इन केस ऑफ आउटवर्ड रेमिटेंस, इनवर्ड तो फ्री है. US Sustainable Development Goals and G20 have set a target to reduce the global average remittance cost to 3% by 2030 with no corridor exceeding 5%. तो टारगेट है कि भैया इस एवरेज को लेकर आओ 3% पे, और कोई भी कॉरिडोर 5% से ऊपर नहीं होना चाहिए. इंडिया स्पेसिफिक डेटा की बात करें, कुवैत इंडिया का कॉरिडोर चीपेस्ट है with an average cost of only 2.1%. This demonstrates efficiency of India's remittance channel and role of digital payment systems in the world. तो इंडिया ने अगर अपने डिजिटल पेमेंट को डेवलप किया, इट हैज रिजल्टेड इन एन ईज, बिकॉज इंडिया पैसा भेजना फ्रॉम ऑल ओवर द ग्लोब इज चीपेस्ट एज पर द अदर नेशंस कंपैरिजन. तो अगर मैं कंक्लूड करूं, ग्लोबल पेमेंट सिस्टम्स दे आर अंडरगोइंग हिस्टोरिक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, टेक्नोलॉजी इनोवेशन, ISO 20022, APIs, tokenization, global corporation, G20, FSB, BIS, and emerging geopolitical and regulatory shifts, where India is also proactively taking the measures, UPI internationalization, collaboration in BIS projects, which will make India not only the contributor but one of the leader in the digital space all around the globe. ठीक है जी, clear हो गया point? So this is all about your report. Just go through with it. एक बार पढ़ लेना, कोई डाउट होगा तो मुझसे नेक्स्ट क्लास में पूछ लीजिएगा. Even you can ask your doubts in the comment section below. So thank you so much for joining. We'll catch you in the next class. अगर आपको लग रहा है कि ये थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा डिटेल्ड रिपोर्ट है, तो आप जाइए RBI की वेबसाइट चेक कीजिए, वहाँ पे 59 पेजेस की रिपोर्ट है. उसको मैं अगर कहूँ तो मैंने 15 से 20 पेजेस में आपके लिए कंक्लूड कर दिया, कीपिंग इन माइंड कि अगर यहाँ से क्वेश्चन आएगा यू कैन आंसर इट प्रीटी वेल. प्लीज आस्क योर डाउट. Please ask your doubt. I'm listening. You can rely on my sessions for finance, not for general current affairs. I have created a list RBI. Yes, it's fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Along with this, you have to cover RBI circulars in much detail in comparison to SEBI circular. SEBI circular से IBPS में या SBI में कम क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं, RBI circular से ज़्यादा पूछे जाते हैं. Got it? So that will be all, guys. Do share your feedback in the comment section. How was the session? I will be catching you all in the upcoming sessions to go. Bye bye. Take care. Good luck. God bless you all.